All right, I just wanted to go over STS real quick because I think it's a very solid play. It works on. I think the best time to run it is obviously when you need a 3, but also when you feel that the defense has to be in man. It doesn't work against the zone. And also when you notice that the center, the defensive center, is helping off his man a lot to help in the paint. Those are, I think, the best opportunities to run it. If the team is switching 1 through 4 or not switching 1 through 4, either one should, in theory, work. Obviously, it works best when the team is not switching 1 through 4. If the team is not switching 1 through 4, it's the most effective. Okay, so we'll run through it one time without defense, and then I'll run back with it with defense. So this is the general starting position. Okay. Now you can start the starting position a little bit differently. You can start it in our regular 5-out set and then call it out. And when you call it out, you can just start moving into the appropriate position. Okay. Right. So you see that, right? So if I hit stop on the play, no, does that not work? Yeah. So you can start from our usual 4-out, 5-up offense and run into the start the set. Then number 2 will set a screen for number 1, in which, number 1 can then drive off the screen. If number 1 has an opening, right, if they don't switch this, number 1 might have an opening to drive. In that case, number 4, you can pop out a little bit, out to the 3. Number 1 can get a layup, shot, bang. You know what I'm saying? So that's one option. Ignore the pass. The pass is not supposed to be there. Right? Number 4 can come out if he needs to. Gets up. There you go. Or if they switch it, generally number 1 won't have an opportunity, but he might still, depending if he can split the screen or not, whatever. What have you. Okay. So number 1 will come off the screen, go wide. In that same moment, number 5 will come over, set a screen on number 2 so he can pop up, receive the pass here, and shoot it. If the shot is not there, all right, let's just go with that option real quick. See, number 4, number 3 go back to their spot, come up, number 5 sets a screen for number 2, number 2 hops up, gets the ball, shoots the 3. Okay. Another option, call out the play. Everyone gets to their position. Number 2 comes, sets the screen. Number 1 rolls off, preferably not too deep, more wide. Number 5 comes, sets the screen for number 2. He pops up. If he doesn't have the shot, number 4 can cut through. There's 2 ways we can do it from there. Either we can have number 5 come set a screen up top. Number 3 can pop back up. Number 2 can pop back up. He goes off the screen. And basically, they work the screen action to get a shot. So set up the play, gets the screen, goes off the screen, receives that, passes up top. If shot's not there, you can rescreen and work off that. Now you have that whole space to work. Another option, call the play, sets up. Number 2 sets the screen. Number 1 comes off the screen. Number 5 sets the screen for number 2 to pop to the top. Pass is there, but shot's not there. But number 2's defender is behind him. So what number 4 can do, number 4 can switch all the way through. And as he's switching all the way through, number 2 can drive. And now he has a drive and kick, or he has a shot. That's the last option of the basic options of a play. Obviously, it's basketball, so you play basketball. Pass is there. Let's say number 2 is open. Number 4, you cut all the way through. Go for the layup, dunk shot, whatever you got. So those are the basic sets for it. Again, you want to run this when they're running man, and you notice that the center is preferably helping in the paint, right? This should work in theory against all man defenses. If they're switching 1 through 5, it should still be able to create a mismatch for number 2 to get number 5's guy on him. If they're switching 1 through 4, it should still be able to get number 2 open if number 5's guy is, again, helping in the paint. But let's work through some scenarios. If they're zoning, it's not going to work. It's not a zone play. Okay. So let's set it up in our regular offense, and we're assuming that they're playing man defense with the center kind of not helping too much. I'm sorry, with the center helping in the paint more. Okay. Okay. So the play is called. So number 4, oh my gosh, reset. So the play is called. Number 4 leads his man down. Number 3 goes to the corner. His man follows him. Number 5 kind of goes a little bit away. Maybe his man follows him. Maybe his man doesn't. Maybe his man trying to avoid the defensive 3 seconds call. So number 2 will set the screen. Now let's say his man is not switching. Okay, 2 defender, 2 in blue is not switching. Red is offense, blue is defense. Okay, so number 1 can get the screen. Same time he gets the screen, number 5 comes here. And number 5 is making the decision. Who do I set the screen on? Do I set the screen on 1? Do I set the screen on 2? So let's say, again, defensively, 1 and 2 are not switching. So 5 is helping down low because he sees the screen up top. The center, the defensive center, sees the screen up top. And he's like, okay, I'm going to stop that action. No, don't pass it. So he sees the screen up top. He says, all right, I'm going to stop that action. And again, I said number 1 and 2 are not switching. They're not switching 1 through 4. So when 2 pops, 1 struggles to get back to a spot. 5 offensively now has to screen both those guys. Number 2 can pop up. Number 2 gets hit by the screen, might be a little bit late, and gives him enough time to shoot the shot. That is the primary goal of the defense. I'm sorry, this is the primary goal of the offense. Yeah, that pass is not supposed to be there. So number 2 comes up. Defensively, number 2 gets hit by the screen. Late to contest. He has room to play. That's the main goal of the offense. That is the number 1 option, what you're trying to do with this play. Of course, you can also, as we mentioned, have a few different options for it. So when number 2 comes to set the screen, if number 2 defensively, let's say they are switching this, we have to, it's good to be aware of what they're doing beforehand. That way it helps number 5 set the screen on the right person. See, now he knows to set the screen on number 1 and not number 2 defensively. So go set the screen. And again, we're assuming that the 5-man is trying to help in the paint. So when number 2 pops up, number 5 sets the screen on number 1. Hopefully getting him caught just long enough. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to pass there. So that number 2 can get the ball before number 1 can close out. And it's a shot. Again, primary focus of the offense is to do that. And there you go. That's the shot. Now let's say they're switching 1 through 5. Start the play up. So again, number 4 goes down to the block. Number 3 goes to the corner. Number 5 goes a little bit to the elbow. So number 2 comes to set the screen. His man is high for a switch. They switch. So number 2 pops up. Number 5 comes to set the screen. Number 5 is aware of the screen. Number 2 pops up. Number 5 is there. So they switch that. Knowing that they switched that, now simple thing you can do, number 2 can stay a little bit, can pop up far. Number 5 can crash to the post, taking his mismatch to him. Number 2 can come up here. That way number 5 cannot help. And then you can, again, reverse space out to our regular offensive set. Post up number 5, easy bucket. Oh, snap, that was weird. Anywho, yeah, set the screen. If this is, again, if they're switching 1 through 5, get that up. Number 5 follows him there. Number 2 stays in that general area. Number 1 comes down. Number 2 pops up here, doesn't let number 5 help. Reset into our general offense, and boom. Now, even one thing they might do off that is they might switch number 4. They do a bump off, get number 4 on the center, which in most cases is still an advantageous post-up opportunity. Okay. That's, again, kind of basic stuff. Let's run through it one more time and see if we can get a different change. So let's restart it. Number 4 goes to the block. Number 3 goes to the opposite corner. Number 5 goes to the wing. Number 2 sets the screen for the ball. Number 1 brings the ball. Number 2 defender goes up to switch. And again, we're saying number 5 defensively is not switching. This is a case where he's not switching. This is more he's just, what's the word? Playing help. His instinct is to help. So he's going over here. Number 2 switches onto him. Number 5 comes to set a screen. Number 5 is kind of in a help position. Not too deep, but a little bit help position. So when number 2 pops off, he gets to pass. Let's say number 1 kind of sneaks through, gets there. So if this is the scenario, then number 2 can try to drive. Number 3 can kind of come up. Number 4 can pull out. And then here, number 4 defensively has to make the decision, do I want to help stop ball or do I want to stop corner? And then you can make the read accordingly. You can pass there. If you don't want to pass there, you can take the shot yourself if number 4 pops up. Yeah, accident pass there, so screen. Number 2 comes up, passes there. Let's say number 1 was able to recover quickly. You guys start moving out the way. Hit that. So again, it's really from number 3 and number 4 perspective, you know, it's kind of a boring role that you're kind of spotting up. But at the same time, you guys are the ones creating the offense, right? If you guys aren't aware of what number 1, 2, and 5 are doing offensively and defensively, if you aren't aware of both of them, the offense and defense, then you're not going to be able to help create the opening, and it's not going to be as effective of a play. But if you guys are aware, seeing what everyone's doing, trying to read and predict what they're trying to do, then you make the play more successful. Okay. Go to a last option, the option where it doesn't work at all. We set up. Okay. We set up in the play. Play is called. We set it up. Number 2 sets the screen. 2 defenders ready to switch, because generally they switch that. Number 5 comes sets the screen up top. Number 2 pops up. Number 1, let's say just not enough of an, oh my goodness. Number 1 doesn't create enough of an opening, so number 1 is still there. What we can do, number 2 can come a little bit wide, take number 1 with him. Number 5 can come set a screen. I'll take number 2 out the picture. Number 3 can come up a little bit. See, not too high, right? Just like at the break of the 3. Which I know you're thinking, oh, but you're so close to number 4 and number 3 are so close to each other. Number 4 can help in the paint, and number 3 can guard too. Yes, but look at this. When number 2 comes off the screen, let's say number 5 shows as number 1 recovers. Then number 3 can break up. Number 5 can crash. And when number 5 crashes, number 4 is like, okay, I got to bump the roll man. Maybe he's thinking, I got to stop this easy layup. Or maybe he's just showing. But because number 3 is coming up, number 3 is coming up, the defender now has more of a space to cover as the ball goes further away. If there's no opening for the ball, then you can hit this guy. Number 3 has to run here. Number 4 has to run back out. If number 4 takes too long to run back out, that's a shot for number 4. If number 4 runs out quickly enough, that should, in theory, be maybe a pass to number 5. And also, this depends on if our builds have enough passing in them. But the idea is still there. If nothing comes out of the play, you can just set up to a high pick and roll with number 2. Or even, we call the play. All right, we call the play out, STS. Technically, the name is Quick 3 STS, but STS is a simpler name. He comes up, they switch. Number 5 sets the screen. Number 1 already gets over the screen ahead of time. So number 2 really doesn't have any opening. If that's the case, then what we can do is we can just spread out. Oh, why would I pass to the defense? We just spread out, reset the offense, and number 5 and number 1 can do a high pick and roll in the corner. And this is actually a very deadly high pick and roll, in my opinion. This is one that you see a lot in the 90s, where they will clear out a corner, have an empty corner, and run high pick and roll from here. And what they used to do in the 90s is number 1 would come off the screen, and obviously number 5 would show, and number 2 would try to come back. And so this number 5 offensively would just pop to the baseline and shoot that mid-range. Very effective. Because, you know, number 5 is kind of playing in between, right? Number 5 is kind of playing in between. So again, to reset it, number 5 is kind of like catching heads, you know? So when number 1 comes off the screen, it engages him. If number 5 straight went to the basket, number 5 would just follow. There might be a shot for number 2. Number 1, number 2 defensively would try to come back. So that's what they used to pop to the baseline and shoot that shot. But yeah, I mean, this is a deadly spot to work a high pick and roll. Even I remember seeing LeBron and Kyle Korver back in 2018. They used to run this pick and roll where Korver was number 5. LeBron was number 1 holding the ball. And he would set the screen and pop straight to the corner. And if they didn't switch it, that was a wide open shot. Because number 5 wouldn't get back in time. And especially because LeBron has great gravity. Yeah, there's some basic options of the Quick 3 STS or STDS, whatever you like to call it. I think it's a great play that works primarily against a man defense that has a 5 that likes to help. That's when it's the best. It doesn't work against the zone, but it works very well against a man defense with a 5 that likes to help. Thank you guys for watching.